You feel it, don't you? That shift happening inside you that you can't quite name. Not the desperate hope you used to carry. Not the aching longing that kept you awake at night. Something quieter. Something that feels like truth settling into your bones. Your heart is no longer racing toward union. It's breathing. And in that breath, everything is about to change. There's this moment in the twin flame journey that nobody warns you about. The moment when the waiting transforms. When you stop counting days and start living them. When you stop asking when and start asking who. Who am I becoming? Who have I always been beneath this longing? And the universe, it watches for this exact moment. Because this is when union stops being something you chase and becomes something you allow. This is when the door finally opens, not because you knocked harder, but because you stopped breaking yourself against it. You recognize this, don't you? The way your energy feels different now. Calmer, more centered, like you've been carrying something heavy for so long that you forgot what your natural posture felt like. And now, slowly, you're standing upright again. Your soul remembers this feeling. This is what it's been guiding you toward all along. Not union as an event, union as a frequency. And beloved, you're finally tuning in. If you felt this shift, if something in your chest just recognized itself in these words, I need you to do something. Drop a comment below and simply type, I am ready for union. Claim this frequency. Let the universe hear your voice. And if these transmissions speak to the deepest part of your soul, subscribe so you never miss the guidance that's meant specifically for you. Because what I'm about to share isn't just information. It's activation. Let's talk about what the universe has been trying to tell you about your coming union. Not the fantasy version, not the Hollywood ending. The real, sacred, transformative union that can only happen when both souls are ready. And here's what most people don't understand. The universe doesn't measure readiness by how long you've waited. It measures readiness by how deeply you've returned to yourself. For so long, you thought union was about him, about his awakening, about his readiness, about his healing. And yes, his journey matters, but the universe wants you to know something that will shift everything. Union begins with you, not because you're more evolved, not because you're further along, but because you are the frequency holder. You are the one who anchors the vibration that makes union possible. And you cannot hold that frequency while you're still abandoning yourself to wait for him. Have you noticed how the energy between you has changed? Maybe you don't feel him as intensely anymore. Maybe the telepathic connection feels quieter. Maybe you're not checking his social media, not analyzing every synchronicity, not waiting for the next sign that he's thinking of you. And this might scare you. You might think you're losing the connection. But beloved, you're not losing anything. You're integrating everything. This is what the universe has been preparing you for. This exact moment. The moment when you stop living in the connection and start living as yourself within the connection. There's a difference. A massive difference. And that difference is what creates the space for union to finally manifest. Let me tell you what's really happening right now. The universe is watching you reclaim your energy. Every moment you choose yourself, every time you invest in your own life, every breath you take without wondering what he's doing, you're sending a signal out into the quantum field. And that signal is powerful. It says, I am whole. I am sovereign. I am ready. Not ready for him to complete you, ready to meet him as an equal. The universe doesn't respond to neediness. It never has. It responds to alignment. And alignment isn't something you force. It's something you allow by removing everything that's blocking it. All those months, maybe years, of waiting, they weren't wasted. They were necessary. Because you needed to feel what it's like to love someone so deeply that you'd wait forever. You needed to understand the depth of this connection. You needed to know it's real. But now you need to understand something else. Forever isn't measured in time. It's measured in truth. And the truth is this: union cannot happen while you're still making him responsible for your happiness. Union cannot happen while you're still putting your life on pause. Union cannot happen while you're still trying to prove your worth through patience. Because union, real union, is not a reward for suffering. It's a meeting of two whole souls who have done the work to become themselves fully. The universe has been waiting for you to understand this. Not intellectually, not as a concept you read about, but as a lived experience in your body. And something tells me you're finally there, or at least you're standing at the threshold. Here's what the universe wants you to know about your coming union. It's closer than you think, but not in the way you've been measuring closeness. It's not about calendar days or moon phases or angel numbers, though those have their place. It's about frequency. And your frequency has been shifting dramatically. You might not even realize how much you've changed, but the universe sees it. And so does he, even if he can't articulate it yet. Deep inside, he knows something is different. He feels your energy pulling back, not in rejection, but in reclamation. And this is what begins to wake him up. Not your chasing, not your messages, not your availability. Your absence from the place where you used to meet him in his fear. You're no longer there, you're somewhere else now. Somewhere he has to grow to reach, and his soul knows it. This is the divine, feminine's sacred role. Not to chase, not to convince, not to prove, but to embody. To become the frequency of union so completely that the masculine has no choice but to rise to meet it or fall away. And here's the paradox the universe wants you to understand. The moment you're truly okay with either outcome, union becomes possible. Because you're no longer attached to a specific result. You're aligned with your highest truth, and truth always wins. But let's be honest about what this means. It means releasing the timeline you created in your mind. It means letting go of how you thought it would happen. It means surrendering the fantasy of him showing up exactly as you imagined, saying exactly what you rehearsed him saying in your head at 3 in the morning. Union, when it comes, will not look like your fantasy. It will look like truth, and truth is always more beautiful and more challenging than fantasy. The universe is preparing you for this profound reunion, and if you've been paying attention to the subtle shifts in your energy, you already know something monumental is taking place beneath the surface. That's why things have felt so unexpectedly quiet lately, almost eerily peaceful compared to the emotional storms you've weathered. That's why the intensity that once consumed your every waking moment has softened into something more manageable, more sustainable. That's why you're not crying every night anymore, clutching your pillow and wondering why this connection has to hurt so much. You're being recalibrated at the deepest levels of your being. Your entire nervous system is undergoing a fundamental transformation, learning to hold a completely different frequency than the one you've been operating from. The frequency of wholeness, where you no longer feel like half a person desperately seeking completion. The frequency of sovereignty, where you recognize yourself as the queen of your own kingdom, the author of your own story. The frequency of a woman who knows, deep in her bones, that her worth isn't determined by whether a man chooses her, validates her, or finally sees her value, but by whether she chooses herself, honors herself, and recognizes her own inherent divinity. And this recalibration, this fundamental shift in your energetic signature, this is where absolutely everything begins to change in ways you never could have orchestrated with your mind. Because the moment you truly choose yourself, not as a strategy to get him back, not as a manipulation technique you learned from another video, but as a genuine act of self-love and self-recognition, you stop waiting for union and start living it right now, in this present moment. Union isn't just about being with him physically, sharing the same space, waking up next to each other, or finally having that relationship status you've dreamed about. Union is a state of consciousness, an internal reality that exists independent of external circumstances. It's the integration of your own divine masculine and feminine energies within your own being. It's the healing of the split inside yourself, the ancient wound that made you believe you were incomplete without another person. It's the moment when you stop seeking outside yourself what you finally found within, when you stop looking to him to fill the void that only you were ever meant to fill. Have you felt this integration beginning to take root in your daily experience? Have you noticed that you're not as triggered by masculine energy anymore, whether it's his energy or the energy of other men in your life? That you're not taking his silence personally, not spinning stories about what it means or doesn't mean? That you're not making his journey about you, not interpreting every action or inaction as a reflection of your worth? This is the divine feminine maturing, evolving, stepping into her true power. This is you stepping into your power in a way that has nothing to do with force or effort. Not the power to control or manipulate outcomes, to make things happen according to your timeline, or to bend his will to match yours. The power to simply be, to exist in your truth, to radiate your essence without apology or explanation. And beloved, your being, your simple, authentic presence, is what changes everything in the energetic field between you. Your being is the catalyst that shifts the entire dynamic without you having to do a single thing. Let me tell you what's happening in the unseen realms right now, in the dimensions beyond what your physical eyes can perceive. While you've been doing your inner work, showing up for yourself day after day even when it felt pointless, while you've been choosing yourself in the small moments and the big ones, while you've been releasing the outcome and surrendering your grip on how this story must unfold, the energetic field between you has been reorganizing itself in profound and powerful ways. All those cords of attachment, those energetic threads of neediness, of fear, of desperation, of trying to control when and how he comes back, they've been dissolving, falling away like chains you didn't even realize were binding you. And in their place, something else is forming, something so much more beautiful and sustainable than what existed before. A connection based on truth rather than illusion, on seeing each other clearly rather than projecting fantasies, based on mutual respect rather than power dynamics and games, based on two whole beings choosing each other consciously and deliberately, not from lack, not from emptiness, not from the desperate need to fill a void, but from overflow, from abundance, from the recognition that you're already complete and you're choosing to share that completeness. This is what the universe has been orchestrating all along, even when it felt like everything was falling apart, even when it seemed like your prayers were going unanswered. Not a fairy tale where everything is perfect and easy and without challenge. Not a rescue where he comes back and suddenly all your problems dissolve and your life becomes magical. But a sacred partnership between two sovereign souls who have each done the work to become whole within themselves. And this kind of partnership, this level of conscious connection, requires extensive preparation that cannot be rushed or bypassed. It requires that both of you face your shadows, the parts of yourselves you've been hiding from, denying, or projecting onto each other. Both of you heal your wounds, the childhood traumas, the past relationship damage, the ancestral patterns running through your lineage. Both of you remember who you are beneath the conditioning society placed upon you, beneath the fear that has been running your life, beneath the protective walls you built to keep yourself safe from being hurt again. His journey is different from yours, and understanding this difference will bring you so much peace. The divine masculine's awakening often comes later in the twin flame process, and it comes harder, more forcefully, more devastatingly, because he's been conditioned his entire life to shut down his heart, to view emotions as weakness, to never let anyone see him vulnerable, to perform strength instead of feel it authentically, to wear a mask of having it all together even when he's falling apart inside, to achieve instead of receive, to do instead of be, to produce instead of simply exist. And the twin flame connection shatters all of that conditioning in one devastating blow. It breaks him open in ways he never wanted to be broken, in ways that terrify him to his core. And yes, he runs from the intensity, from the feeling, from the magnitude of what's being asked of him. Not from you, though it feels that way. From himself, from the parts of himself he's never had to confront before. From the feeling that threatens to overwhelm his carefully constructed identity. From the vulnerability that the connection demands. From the truth that loving you, truly loving you the way his soul wants to love you, requires him to become someone he's never been brave enough to be. To shed every layer of protection and stand naked in his truth. But something is shifting in him too, even if you can't see the evidence yet with your physical eyes. You might not see it yet in his actions or his choices. You might not hear from him, might not get the text or the call you've been hoping for. But in the silence, in the spaciousness, in the energetic space you've created by stepping back and releasing your grip, he's beginning to face what he's been running from all this time. His own heart and the feelings he's suppressed for years or even decades. His own fear of inadequacy, of not being enough, of failing at the one thing that matters most. His own unworthiness, the deep belief that he doesn't deserve this kind of love, this kind of connection, this kind of sacred partnership. And this facing, this confrontation, with his own inner world. This is his initiation into his own power. Just as yours was learning to stop chasing, to stop making him your source, to stop abandoning yourself for the possibility of him, his is learning to stop running from his feelings, to stop hiding behind distractions and defense mechanisms, to stop choosing fear over love. The universe doesn't force this process. It allows it. It holds space for both of you to move at the pace your souls need. And here's what you need to trust. If this is a true twin flame connection, if this is a sacred union meant to manifest in this lifetime, nothing can stop it. Not his fear, not his resistance, not even his free will, because his soul made an agreement with yours long before either of you took human form. And soul agreements always fulfill themselves. Always. But they fulfill themselves in divine timing. And divine timing isn't about when you want it to happen. It's about when both of you are ready to hold the frequency of union without destroying each other or yourselves. Because union without readiness is just codependency with spiritual language. And the universe loves you too much to give you that. So what is the universe asking of you right now? It's asking you to live fully, completely, without reservation. It's asking you to stop putting your dreams on hold. Stop waiting to be happy. Stop postponing your life until he shows up. Because here's the sacred secret. The version of you that he will finally be ready to meet is the version of you that stopped waiting for him. The version of you that built a life so beautiful, so full, so aligned, that his presence would be a bonus, not a necessity. This is not about playing games. This is not about making him jealous or proving a point. This is about genuine transformation. This is about you remembering that you are not half a soul waiting for completion. You are a whole universe. And when you live like that, when you embody that truth, everything changes. The universe wants you to know that your coming union is not dependent on you being perfect. It's not dependent on you healing every wound or clearing every block or reaching some impossible level of enlightenment. It's dependent on you being real, being honest, being willing to show up as you are, not as you think you should be. Because union is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. And here's where it gets interesting. The moment you stop trying to be ready for him and start being present with yourself, you become magnetic in a completely different way. Not the desperate magnetism of need, the powerful magnetism of wholeness. And he will feel this shift, even if he's on the other side of the world, even if you haven't spoken in months, even if he's convinced himself he's moved on. His soul will feel you, stepping into your power, and his soul will respond. But you have to trust the process. You have to trust that the universe knows what it's doing. You have to trust that every delay has been protection. Every closed door has been redirection. Every moment of silence has been preparation. Because the union you're being prepared for is not the one you imagined when this journey began. It's bigger, deeper, more transformative, and it requires a version of both of you that didn't exist when you first met. This is why the universe has been so incredibly careful, so impossibly tender, so deliberately protective with your precious heart. Why it hasn't rushed this sacred process, hasn't forced timelines, hasn't pushed you into something before you were truly ready. Why it's allowed you, even encouraged you, to feel every single emotion in its fullness, to face every fear that's been hiding in the shadows of your soul, to question everything you thought you knew about love, about yourself, about what you deserve, because you needed to be forged in this fire. You needed to be refined by these flames. You needed to discover, not intellectually, but in the very depths of your being, that you could survive without him. That survival wasn't just possible, but that you could actually thrive without him. That you could be genuinely happy, deeply content, authentically joyful without his presence in your life. That you could love yourself as deeply, as passionately, as unconditionally as you've been loving him. And now that you're discovering this truth, now that you're not just understanding it, but actually living it, breathing it, embodying it in every choice you make, union becomes possible in a way it never was before. Let me tell you what happens next, what's already beginning to unfold in the quantum field. Not as a prediction pulled from thin air, not as a fortune teller's promise, but as an energetic truth, as a spiritual law that's as reliable as gravity. When you fully embody your sovereignty, when you stand completely in your power without apology or hesitation, when you fully claim your worth not as something you hope to have, but as something you know you possess, when you fully live your life, filling it with purpose and passion and presence, one of two things will happen, and both are actually victories. Either he will rise to meet you, transformed and ready, having done his own work, having faced his own demons, having become the version of himself that can actually hold space for what you're offering, or he will fade from your life, gently or suddenly, making space for something even more aligned, someone even more ready, a connection even more beautiful. And here's the beautiful part, the part that changes everything. You'll be okay either way, not just okay in that I'll survive kind of way, thriving, genuinely thriving, living your best life regardless of which path unfolds. This is the freedom the universe has been guiding you toward all along, through every painful lesson, through every moment of confusion. Freedom from outcome, from needing things to happen in one specific way. Freedom from attachment, from the desperate clinging that keeps us small and scared. Freedom from the belief that your happiness depends on one person making one choice, on him finally waking up, on him finally seeing you, on him finally being ready. Because it doesn't. It never did. Your happiness depends on you and the choices you make every single day. Your wholeness depends on you and your willingness to integrate all the parts of yourself you've been rejecting. Your union, the real union, the one that matters most, the one that determines everything else, that's between you and yourself, between your human self and your divine self, between who you've been and who you're becoming. And when that union is solid, when that foundation is unshakable, everything else falls into place with an ease that will astound you. The universe wants you to know, wants you to really hear this, that you're not being tested like some cruel experiment. You're being loved, deeply, profoundly, unconditionally loved. Every challenge has been an invitation to love yourself more deeply, to extend to yourself the compassion you so freely give to others. Every disappointment has been an opportunity to choose yourself more fully, to prioritize your needs, to honor your truth even when it's uncomfortable. Every moment of waiting has been a chance to build a life that doesn't need him to be complete, a life that's full and rich, and meaningful all on its own. And you've done it, maybe not perfectly, because perfection was never the goal. Maybe not without stumbling, without falling, without moments of doubt and despair. But you've done it. You've built something real and solid and beautiful. And now, right now, in this very moment, you're standing at the threshold of something new, something you've never experienced before. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle but undeniable sense that something is about to shift, that the energy is changing, that the waiting is almost over. Not because you've waited long enough, not because you've earned it through suffering, not because the universe finally decided you've paid your dues, but because you've become ready. Really ready, truly ready. Not ready for him in that desperate, grasping way. Ready for yourself, for the fullness of who you are. Ready for truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it challenges everything you thought you knew. Ready for a love that doesn't require you to abandon yourself, to make yourself smaller, to hide parts of who you are. Ready for union in its truest, most sacred form. Here's what coming union looks like energetically, what it feels like in your body and your soul. It's not fireworks, though there will be sparks of joy. It's not drama, though there will be depth and intensity of a different kind. It's not the intense push and pull you've been experiencing, that exhausting dance of chase and retreat. It's peace, deep, settled, unshakable peace. It's ease, the kind that comes when two people are aligned in purpose and truth. It's two people who have done their work, who have faced their shadows without flinching, who have healed their wounds instead of expecting someone else to fix them, and who have chosen to walk together consciously and deliberately, not because they need each other to feel complete, not because they're afraid of being alone, not because they're trying to fill a void, but because they want to, because they recognize each other at a soul level, because they honor what they're building together and understand its sacred purpose. The universe is orchestrating this meeting, arranging the pieces on the cosmic chessboard with perfect precision. But it's doing it in a way that honors both of your journeys, that respects both of your timelines, that allows both of you to arrive at readiness authentically. It's not forcing him to wake up before he's ready, not manipulating his free will, not pushing him into consciousness he hasn't earned through his own journey. It's not asking you to wait in suffering, to put your life on hold, to remain stuck in longing and hope while life passes you by. It's creating the conditions for both of you to arrive at the same place at the same time, whole and ready, healed and conscious, sovereign and strong. And those conditions require that you keep choosing yourself day after day, moment after moment. Keep building your life into something that reflects your values and your dreams. Keep honoring your truth even when it's easier to compromise. You might be wondering, how will I know when it's time? How will I recognize when union is actually happening and not just another false start? How will I distinguish between real readiness and another cycle of hope and disappointment? And the answer is simple, though not always easy to accept. You'll know because you'll stop asking. You'll know because the question itself will fall away, becoming irrelevant in the face of your own wholeness. You'll know because you'll be so grounded in yourself, so anchored in your own truth, that his presence will feel like a natural extension of your life, not a disruption of it, not something that throws you off balance or makes you question everything. You'll know because there will be ease where there was once struggle, communication where there was once silence and guessing games, honesty where there were once walls and defenses, mutual effort where there was once one-sided pursuit. Not perfection, because that's not real or sustainable, but partnership, real partnership where both people are showing up, doing the work, honoring the connection. And if you're not there yet, if you're still in the thick of it, still struggling, still hurting, that's okay too. More than okay. It's exactly where you need to be right now. Universe isn't rushing you, isn't tapping its foot, impatiently waiting for you to get it together. It's holding space for you to continue becoming, to continue evolving into the highest version of yourself. Continue healing those deep wounds that have been waiting for your attention. Continue growing in ways you never imagined possible, because every step you take toward yourself is simultaneously a step toward union. Every boundary you set is a declaration of worth that echoes through the universe. Every time you choose your own happiness over waiting for someone else to provide it, you're telling the universe with absolute clarity, I'm ready for more. And the universe always responds to that frequency, always matches that energy, always delivers what you're truly ready to receive. So beloved, so dear one, let this be your reminder, your anchor, your truth to return to when doubt creeps in. You are not waiting for union like someone sitting on a bench waiting for a bus. You are preparing for it through every choice you make, every boundary you set, every moment you choose yourself. And preparation looks like living, really living, not putting life on hold. Like laughing from your belly, finding joy in small moments. Like creating, expressing yourself, bringing your gifts into the world. Like loving yourself so fully, so completely, so unconditionally that His love becomes an addition to an already full life, not a necessity to fill an empty void. This is what the universe has been trying to teach you all along. Through every lesson, every challenge, every moment of pain. You are not incomplete without Him. You never were. You are whole, entirely whole, perfectly whole exactly as you are. And union is what happens when two whole souls choose to create something together, not when two half people try to complete each other. The coming union is not about Him finally seeing your worth after all this time, finally recognizing what's been in front of Him all along. It's about you seeing it so clearly, so unshakably, so completely that you won't accept anything less than full recognition, that you'll walk away from anything that doesn't honor what you know you deserve. It's about you standing so firmly in your truth, so rooted in your knowing, that only truth can meet you there. That anything less than authenticity simply bounces off your energy field. It's about you embodying the frequency of love so completely, so fully, radiating it from every cell of your being. That love has no choice but to manifest in your physical reality, to take form and meet you exactly where you are. And here's the final truth the universe wants you to know, wants you to carry in your heart like a sacred talisman. Whether union happens in 3 days or 3 years, whether it happens with Him or with someone even more aligned with who you've become, someone you haven't even met yet, you're going to be okay. More than okay, you're going to be magnificent. You're going to shine. You're going to thrive. Because you've already found the most important union the one that makes all others possible, the union with yourself, the integration of all your parts, the marriage of your human and divine nature. And once you have that, once that's solid and real and unshakable, everything else is just a beautiful addition to an already complete life, icing on an already delicious cake. Trust the timing, even when it doesn't make sense to your logical mind. Trust the process, even when it's painful and confusing. Trust yourself, your intuition, your knowing, your journey. The universe hasn't forgotten you in all the chaos and noise of billions of souls. It hasn't abandoned you to figure this out alone. It's been preparing you for something so beautiful, so sacred, so transformative that it required this entire journey to make you ready for it. Every painful step, every dark night, every moment of doubt. And you are ready, or you're becoming ready. And that's exactly, precisely, perfectly where you need to be right now. Ask yourself one final time, with complete honesty, am I living as someone waiting to be chosen, organizing my life around the hope that he'll finally pick me? Or am I living as someone who has already chosen herself, who has decided that her own approval is enough? Because the moment you fully embody the latter, the moment you truly live from that place of self-selection, union stops being something you hope for, wish for, pray for desperately, and becomes something you allow, something you permit, something you're open to receiving because you're already complete. The universe is waiting for you to step fully into that power, standing on the sidelines cheering you on. Not because it's withholding union as some kind of punishment or test, but because it knows that's where union actually lives, in that space of wholeness, in that frequency of completion, in that energy of someone who has already chosen themselves. Tell me in the comments, have you felt this shift? Have you noticed yourself choosing you more often? What changed when you stopped waiting and started living? Your story might be exactly what another soul needs to hear today. Because we're all walking each other home. And union, the real union, begins the moment we remember we were never separate at all.